Hey, Maria back with another video. It's 12:41 p.m. Monday. This is November 26th, and I just got home, and I took my shoes off, my sweater off, and the weather is actually kind of weird right now. It's kind of like dreary this morning, and the sun's up right now, so it's kind of warm now. At least it is inside. So anyway, I want to hurry up and make this video before I eat my lunch and kind of kick back for the rest of the day. So I titled this video Spinster Woman. You know, that's kind of an old term. I don't think most people use that anymore. I know when I was growing up, because my mother was from a certain generation, that name was kind of used in the household. So like when we would play that card game, Old Maid, that was pretty much the same thing, right? Anyway, so I have concluded that the reason why the cute guy doesn't come closer is because he's dealing with obstacles from his family relations. So as disappointing as this may be, it's time for me to move on from this issue that should have never happened in the first place. As for the employers who involve themselves in this arrangement, let me hang on a second. They should have never got involved in the first place. You know, I had no idea anything relating to the cute guy was going on until like about 2016. And why would these people make such an effort to rearrange my life when there was no formal commitment between me and the cute guy? Now, even if there was a formal commitment between me and the cute guy, it's not their place to intervene, okay? And preferably, you know, I think it's better if, like I said, I gave this example before, you know, like if a couple's married and a man has, you know, the ability and the so-called illegal authority to have some sort of say over a woman's life, what happens to that woman is being placed in a very awkward position. So if something was to happen to that particular relationship, that woman could find herself in a very terrifying situation, which this happens a lot, okay? You know, like what's happened to me happens to a lot of women. They might get married and then their husband does something to them. I'm not saying that this is what he did. I believe it's more of the employer's end, but still it's about this whole situation. So it would be wrong, okay? And I would never want to be in a situation where I'm placed in a subjugated type lifestyle, because that's very it's abusive, okay? It's setting you up for abuse. Okay, so this long weekend has come and gone, okay? And, you know, it started off pretty boring, you know, but then I started picking up some my little hobbies and stuff. I finished my hat, you know, the knitting hat that I was working on, and it came out pretty good. And now I decided to make a scarf to go with it. I'm running out of yarn, so I'm going to have to hit the store sometime next week and pick up some more yarn so I can pick up my project. But yeah, it's come and gone, and it was boring at first. But I did receive a lot of insight about this issue, this particular issue. And with the knowledge that I've acquired, it seems to me that the best thing for me is just to take some time out to figure out what I'm going to do, because I can't stay like this, okay? I can only assume that the community thought that I was going to be romantically linked with someone who was not able to support themselves. So they erroneously put a system in place where I would be limited in my employment search. Since the cute guy and I are not together, it's time for me to move on and forget this nightmare that I had nothing to do with, okay? I must stay optimistic, and I am. I'm trying to be optimistic and hope to find an employer who appreciates hard work and professionalism. I can't be bothered with, you know, these intrusive people who feel like they have this need to make up stories about my private life, and even worse, act on these particular assumptions. As I said back in 2016, before I knew the cute guy was even involved in any way, I have no problem being single. I really don't. I mean, I have for many years studied the history of marriage and relationships, and I realized that for those people with prestige and power, they generally got married to merge wealth and power, okay? I don't come from an aristocratic family, aristocratic family. I don't come from an aristocratic family. You know, most people who don't have that sort of power and wealth, they get married for love, okay? And so growing up, you know, I was influenced by fairy tales and love stories to agree that I felt as though that's what I wanted for myself. And, yeah, everybody wants true love, okay? But as I looked around, I saw for myself that very people had this sort of living arrangement, okay? At least it not enough for the long haul, okay? Like, when you first meet somebody, the butterflies in the stomach, the phone calls, the anticipation, you can't wait to see this person, all this wonderful, beautiful stuff, okay? And then it kind of dies down, okay? And then there are some people who just don't lose interest in their partners altogether and whatever, and it becomes kind of a nightmare. Okay, so instead of me being devoted to a person who is, I'm inside of myself, I know that I'm a person who's devoted, who's very devoted. Okay, I'm a devoted person, and I'm capable of great love. Like, if I was in a relationship and I was devoted to that person, I would be completely devoted to that person. But sadly, most really aren't worthy. Okay, so I prefer to stay single, and instead of marriage, I prefer to devote my time, my time to other interests, and perhaps make friends and convert them into family. Like, for example, you meet a good, nice girl and we hang out, and then for the holidays, and she probably doesn't have anyone either to hang out with. So you get together for the holidays, you go do things, go to the beach, go shopping, make things together, that sort of stuff, and they're included into different cycles of my life. That's ideal to me. So marriage is not essential to my overall well-being. It just isn't, and I've mentioned this before, even before I knew the cute guy was involved, okay? The cute guy would have been great to get to know the cute guy. As for the cute guy, I wish him well, and I hope that he's happy. I really do. He's a very beautiful person. And as everyone in the community should know, I've been held hostage based on an issue I had no knowledge of and should not have happened in the first place. And I was right all along. And many people their foolish actions show this, okay? I was right all along. So all these people who got involved in the gossip and the looking and the staring and the weird job interviews and all this other stuff, I was right all along, okay? And, I know that when, back when I was staying over at my old house, my house was under surveillance to the point where people were bringing subjects up to me that I had mentioned in my house, okay? And, anything that I said, well, I might have stated a preference for particular ice cream. Then they would sit there and try to do, upstage. It's all about upstaging me. And so there's a lot of gossip that goes on, and there's a lot of, I don't know, rumor campaigns, slander campaigns, whatever you want to call it, right? That go on. And I knew what was going on was foolish, okay? It was foolish then, but now that I've come to understand all the players who were involved and the stupidity of their actions, it's even more ridiculous, okay? Anyway, so yeah, I need right now to take some time to figure out how to move on, okay? And this is the only focus that I have now, okay? Now, before this, I really was hoping that the cute guy would come in, and we'd talk, and then, maybe we could be together, why not? I was open to it, right? Because he's a familiar face to me, and I've always liked him, from what I've known of him. So it didn't happen. But during this time, when you see me moping, you see me upset, you see me fretful or just kind of gloomy or this dark cloud hanging over my head, wasn't necessarily relating to the cute guy. My issue was, what the fuck is going on with me finding a goddamn job? That was my issue. Okay, throughout this entire time. Yes, I was like, man, I hope I see him. Yes, I was sending him text messages, but my main focus right here is, how the hell am I supposed to survive? That's it. Okay, so I do need time to take some time out for myself. Okay, so I realized that this weekend I need to restructure how I'm going to get out of this bullshit that I didn't ask for, that I didn't deserve, this should have never happened in the first place. It's illegal, it's immoral, it's everything under the sun, okay? And guess who's feeling the effects of this? Me, okay? Bullshit, okay? So this is what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I did. I think when growing up, that old card game, Old Maid, it was like, because I was so influenced by, what do you call it? Romance. I didn't read romance novels. I knew those were bullshit from the very beginning. But still, fairy tales, certain TV shows, how they portrayed certain relationships and stuff. At a young age, I was That was like the ideal. And a lot of women, we would talk, little girls would talk, and we would talk about our aspirations. And our aspirations, most of us, when we were talking, was we want to get married, and we want to get married. It was all love, 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 right? Okay, as an adult, playing the old maid card game when I was a kid was like, oh man, I'm the old maid. And the whole thing about old maid, there's something that swirled around in my mind like, that's horrible. That's tragic, because people paint it out that way. Like, you don't have a husband, blah, 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 blah. Okay, people don't need husbands, okay? As I got older, I realized that they don't need to be married. And I'm not saying that to break anyone's tradition, because marriage is going to continue on for as long as whatever. But in my particular case, especially someone from me growing up in an abusive environment growing up, dealing with all of these issues, and the very fact that I don't really have a huge support system, okay? Getting involved in a relationship that could be potentially abusive. I'm not saying the cute guy's abusive. I'm just saying is getting into a relationship that's potentially abusive could put me in a very awkward situation, okay? So anyway, the things about not being married, and I am glad I'm single, okay? But, here's the thing. I don't have to worry about feeling obligated to do things I don't believe in or that I don't want to participate in, okay? When you're in a family, there's a lot of pressure, okay? And sometimes, I'm the kind of person, when a person gets married, if I was to get married, it would be between me and my husband, period, okay? But some families, because I don't really have a concept of family. I don't, okay? Because that's pretty much, my family was just kind of scattered all over the place. Meaning I had a mom and dad in the house, okay? But there was no structure. There was no, any tradition that we carried on. It wasn't like that. It was just like we kind of went along as we went along. It wasn't this whole, everybody has a particular role and place in the family. It wasn't like that, okay? So that's one thing, okay? Because I don't want to, after being, almost 50 years old, at this point in my life, first of all, I'm too old to have any goddamn kids, okay? So me carrying a kid and raising a family, which is another part of marriage, okay, is kind of stupid, right? I'm too old to have kids. Number two, I don't want to be subjected to certain ways of living that are in direct opposition to my personal goals or my beliefs, okay? There are a lot of families out there that have certain ideas, like maybe they're a particular religion, maybe they have certain views, personal views in their life that are way out for me, which normal to them may be like way far-fetched to me. That wouldn't work, okay? Because if you ever do something to make someone else happy, it might work for a little bit, but little by little you start chipping more pieces of yourself, start chipping down. You start hating that person. You start hating yourself because you're not being the person that you are supposed to be. And it creates nothing but a problem. Okay, and I don't want too much. That was my biggest issue. Too much male energy in the house. Okay, now I don't know, because, the cute guy never struck me as, a guy that was like super, what's the word for it? The football games, the masculinity, the working on cars, the coming in sweaty, all that stuff that I really don't particularly want in my house, okay? I don't want it in my house. And I understand men will be men, and I respect men, okay? But I'm older, and I've been set in my ways. I like pink. I like little, I like girly stuff, and that's the way I plan on keeping it. And, when you are married, you don't have to feel, sexually inadequate, because monogamy is not for most men. There's a lot of women out there who are what I consider to be beautiful. Like, I consider Halle Berry to be beautiful, right? It boggles my mind that her husband would cheat on her. One of her husbands would cheat on her. It boggles my mind when I see any beautiful actress or model or something of that line where, you think their husband was like, loving on them, and that would be it. That would be it. But a lot of men still want someone else along with the beautiful housewife that they have. You know what I mean? So to me, I wouldn't want that. Some women put up with it, okay? And that's fine for them. And some women even go so far as to participate with it. Okay, I mean, there's all kinds of people out there. There's all kinds of marriage arrangements out there, okay? But that's not for me. It would never work for me. So I know who I am, okay? And it's not childish, it's not immature. It's something that you have to think about. It's unfortunate that, you know, the cute guy didn't come around. It is very unfortunate. But I should have never been put in this situation, especially since I had no idea. And even if I did have an idea, it's not for other people to intervene. It just isn't. So anyway, no matter how you look at it, they're wrong. You know, I was thinking this morning of all the years I absolutely adored the cute guy. And I probably always will. I will always think highly of him, no matter what, you know. And, let's see. There's so many things I don't know about him, you know. And I really never got a chance to know him that well. I mean, like when I used to see him, I would duck and hide. And then when I would call him, you know, a lot of times I'd hang up on the phone. And he only said one thing to me one time. And that was like, we were at the fairgrounds. He said something to me, and I scurried off because I was so embarrassed, okay? So most of the things I kind of know from him indirectly. I just liked his energy. I thought he was, I don't know, creative and different, you know, whatever. Anyway, so Maria Gordon is single, and she needs to move on from this tragedy, okay? And I'm obviously blameless in all this, and this is how I choose to live my life. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I will be back with another video later, and I'm going to go eat some lunch now. Take care. Bye-bye.